Welcome back to Q Dads, it's me Steve, and normally I would be saying yes, we're back for season 2 in a really positive manner as we return for this second season. However, The Last of Us season 1 felt very bittersweet. Now it did have some great episodes, but it also had some rubbish ones, so I'm a little unsure how season 2 will go. Now, first of all, we'll be diving into the episodes from a TV series only. So there'll be no spoilers from the second game as, well, we've not played it. We know some of the things that happen, but we're going to keep this spoiler free. So with that said, sit back, grab a beverage of choice, and let's dive into season 2 of The Last of Us. The episode opened up with Ellie confronting Joel about the events of his decimation of the Fireflies, and Joel continues to lie to her. We then cut to Abby and the gang as they bury the dead and confirm their plan to eventually hunt down Joel. Now, here's my first moan. We've seen the character model from the game for Abby, and she's certainly more built in the game. Now, this particular shot, she's going to be 5 years younger than we see her later in the end of the episode, but I still think the actress looks a little frail to portray Abby. That's just my opinion, so let me know your thoughts. We then get that mentioned time skip as we head back over to Jackson in Wyoming, which now, as we can see, has grown and developed much more than the last time we saw it. We see Joel attempting to repair breakers while talking to Dina, further confirming just how far this town has moved on. We also see a pipe being broken with roots in it. Now, as soon as I saw this, I questioned surely the cordyceps would be in there, and would it not be a good idea to burn these roots? Well, at the end, we do see that they should have burned the roots, and it would have been a good idea. Moving on, we get our first scene of a now 19-year-old Ellie. And this scene really irks me. Again, I'm going to moan a little bit. The Last of Us has always come across as a game of reality in situations, with how the infected attack and you had to defend yourself by stabbing them on the off chance, and having scenarios where you simply try to avoid any conflict at all. But I find Ellie being able to get the dude in some form of triangle lock amazing. Now, I will admit jiu-jitsu is intended to remove size barriers in a fight, but it's clear the guy could easily lift her. So why isn't he smashing her into the ground? It just seems a little bit weird and forced. I can only assume he didn't for the same reason he pulled that initial punch. Either way, a bit like Abby's cast choice here, I think Ellie being able to pull off these feats of strength just seems wrong. Especially when we see later her tangle with the infected and not being able to fight them off. Even though the infected woman would have been much lighter. I know I'm having a bit of a moan, but for me it just takes away from what the game was originally about. Not everything can be solved with fighting. Leading on from that scene, it's established that Joel and Ellie's relationship has taken a turn for the worst, with them both not really talking to each other in that classic parent and child-like way. Now, we do get a really cool scene following this though, with Tommy and Ellie taking out a clicker. Ellie points the gun, we hear the gunshot, and then about 2 seconds later we see the bullet hit, giving us the sense of just how far away that clicker was, while also showing us just how much Ellie has improved with firearms following her lack of ability in the first season. Following on, and clearly hinting towards the themes of the season, we see Joel essentially go to therapy, trading some weed in return for the conversation, but it's clear that Joel can't really heal until he's willing to disclose how he essentially saved Ellie and might have doomed others. Following these touching events, we actually start to get some action in the episode, as Ellie and a group of people go on the Alpine run for scouting and supplies. They stumble on a bloody track. Ellie and Dina decide they need to search on more and come across a dead bear with quite a few infected ripped apart. Now, this is where we get our first clue of a new type of infected, as it seems one of the infected that fought the bear had left the scene and hid inside some kind of shop. Ellie and Dina decide to investigate and discover a clicker, which Ellie decided she was going to take on with a knife. Now, she didn't seem to get the cleanest of kills here to me, again struggling to take a clicker down. And this is where I must go back to the start of the episode, where she seemed to overpower a man 2 times her size, but here she struggled. Following on from her triumphant kill, she crashes through the ceiling, and after some investigation, stumbles on an infected that seems to run from her and hide, later referred to as a stalker. Now, these seem to be smarter infected, with the ability to almost risk assess a situation like a human would be able to. I believe this is the one that escaped from the bear after feeding on it, and it just so happened that a clicker was also in the building. Now, Ellie's bit here, and we see the fungus leave its mark. Again, I assume this is to show the audience once more that she is in fact immune. Now, I really liked this bit of the episode because it cleared up the fact that the infected will eat any kind of flesh, and it's not just human flesh they need. Which does make us question how lucky those giraffes were back in season 1. I really like how the bear had tore the infected limb from limb too, and I would have really liked to have seen that fight. So maybe next time the producers can put something in there, because that'd be very interesting to see how they almost teamed up against the bear. Following the events here and the bite, Ellie decides to do a boss move and cut herself with a knife as a way of hiding the bite mark. I assume though, this bite mark will come back to bite her later on in the season. We then get the New Year celebration with Ellie eventually kissing Dina and Sam calling them a homophobic slur before Papa Joel comes to the rescue, but unfortunately for him, this just pisses Ellie off even more. We then end the episode with Abby and the gang seeming to be approaching a far off settlement. Now, I'm going to assume this settlement is the one in Jackson where Joel and Ellie reside, so clearly things are about to happen. We finally see the aged Abby too, and again, I must stress I'm disappointed in the actress choice. I assume a much more built Abby than we are given. The episode then ends with those darn pipes and the cordyceps moving inside, which we can only assume will be alerting some infected further away. Overall, this episode was a good start to the season, and as someone who hasn't played the second game, I think the episode did enough to build that intrigue, making us guess at what will come next. Like, will Joel eventually tell Ellie the truth? And what will Abby do when she finally gets to Joel? I'm also very interested in these new stalker variants, as I assume there will be more, and I'm going to speculate that the settlement will be attacked by a group of these later in the season, maybe at the same time as Abby approaches. Anyway, it was a good opening episode, and the fact we saw probably more infected today than we did in most of the first episode has given me hope. I think it's clear something big is coming, and Joel and Ellie's breakdown in relationship might be the cause of it. Right then guys, over to you. Remember, please no game spoilers here, keep it to the show. How did you find that first episode? What are your thoughts on the choice of actress for Abby? Yes, I know technically that is potentially a game spoiler, but I think everyone's seen the picture of what Abby looks like in the game at this point, so I don't think it's that much of a spoiler. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. I expected it to be actually quite built, and I'm a little bit underwhelmed with it. And how many episodes do you think we'll have to wait for the settlement to be potentially attacked by Abby or these new stalker variants? Thanks again for watching. Please subscribe as it helps the channel to grow, and as always, we'll catch you next time with something new.
This scope is sick.